So good afternoon to all the professionals who have logged in for this webinar, a very interesting webinar on vehicle-induced air and noise pollution-related health impact and its mitigation strategies. So in fact, we have the speaker of the day, Mr. Engineer Arga Kamal Guha. In fact, he's joining us from Guwahati, and he would be sharing his experiences as well as the learnings as well as his research-oriented topic with all of us. And I'm sure that this would be really an eye opener for all civil engineers because we do not give much attention to these aspects. Now, before going to the speaker, let me just introduce the organization, the company as such. I will take under 5 minutes so that we get to know what are the initiatives that we have been taking in the near future over the past few months. In fact, as all of you know, Ramco Cements have been customizing the cement for its various applications because what we have understood is that the concrete that they are using is of different types and different applications. Because if you see one thing, what is happening is you have concrete which is made for projects as well as individual house builders, and then you have the precast applications, and even within the construction project also you will find that each concrete has different requirement, like some may have a high slump retention, some may have high early strength. So looking at this, we will find that there is a lot of customized concrete that is needed. Now, keeping that in mind, we have the various types of cement that we have got. We have 12 brands of cement that is being manufactured. That is, we have 4 PPC cement, Ramco Super Crete cement, Ramco Super Fine, Ramco Super Grade, and Karthik Super Plus. And then we have 2 PSC cement, Ramco Samudra and Ramco Super Steel. And then we have the ordinary Portland cement, which is ordinary Portland cement 43, 53 grade, 43 grade infra, and 53 grade infra. Now we have customized within OPC infra to suit the long slump retention, which is being used by many RMC units, because many of the RMC plants want concrete of longer slump retention. Then for precast units, we have a special cement, Aramco Super Fast, which is being used by virtue of its high early compressive strength. So this is what we have. So what is happening is that we have customized the cement, but all of them are within the purview of BIS standard. Like say, for example, as all of us know, OPC cement is as per IS 269, because the earlier 8112 and 12269 is no longer valid now. So it is as per IS 269. Then we have the PPC as per IS 1489, PSC as per IS 455. And we all know the relevance of blended cement for that matter, because by virtue of its low heat of hydration as well as from the durability perspective, I am sure that one goes in for more of blended cement. Now, Ramco Cement, as all of you know, is an organization which started in the year 1961. It has been in the Indian cement industry since 1961, and since the last 6 decades, we have been taking a lot of initiatives as well as introduction of technology and facilities for energy efficiency. And being pioneers of blended cement, we have taken a number of steps. Now, whenever we look at all this, when we want to bridge the gap between what the customers are, doing at the site, and as well as the research and research that is taking place, we thought that why not have a exclusive research center. So that is why we have a separate research and development center, what we call it by the name of Ramco Research Development Center at Chennai, which does a lot of work on various blending materials, various types of cement, various concrete, and as all of us know that there are a number of chemical admixtures that is available in the market. So we also do compatibility studies by doing the trial whether this is satisfying the requirements of concrete or not. Now, to ensure that this happens, we have number of durability measuring instruments also at our laboratory. Like say, for example, all of us know about the well-known RCPT test, rapid chloride penetration test, which measures the chloride ion penetration, thereby evaluating the durability of concrete. And then we have the what you call the water penetration test as per DIN standard. Water permeability apparatus we have got, wherein we take the concrete sample, and by virtue of the penetration of water, we can evaluate the durability of concrete. So we give more importance to the durability of concrete. It is not fully sufficient that we give importance, but we also measure it. And that is why you will find that we have been doing this over the last few years, and we have been giving importance, and also asking our construction professionals also to follow practices as well as tests which measure durability of concrete. So that is the thing that we have got. So we have got Ramco Research Development Center, and we have got number of we have got the integrated plants, we have got the grinding units. In fact, in the eastern part of the country, recently we had augmented the capacity of our Kolaghat grinding unit from 1 million to 2 million, and then we have our Vizag grinding unit again, which has been augmented to supply to the eastern part of the country. And we have a new grinding unit which is coming up, which is going to be commissioned very shortly in the state of Odisha. So we have this facilities for ensuring that regular supply of cement reaches our customers even in the eastern part of the country. Many of the projects that has been using our cement, many of the individual house builders. So that is the kind of initiatives we have been taking. And of course, as far as knowledge dissemination is concerned, over the last few months, as all of us know, we have been conducting various webinars on various topics, which is also there in Facebook Live as well as on YouTube. So if you want to go and have a look at the various speakers, in fact, what we thought is that perspective from various experts is very important. And that is why we have been inviting various speakers, those experts who are having the expertise knowledge in their particular domain. And we have been able to bring them, and they have spoken on various topics, like say, for example, on geotechnical engineering, the soil, the bearing capacity, the foundation, which is again very important. Then we have reinforcement detailing, and then on National Building Code, NBC 2016, we had the BAS officials who gave a very good webinar on that, because many of us would not be aware of what exactly is there. In fact, NBC 2016 is in 2 volumes, and various other code related as well as practical oriented webinars we had over the last few months. So today we have this very interesting topic by Engineer Arga Kamal Guha. Let me just give a brief profile overview of the speaker of the day. In fact, he is a doctoral research fellow on environmental air and noise pollution at IIT Guwahati. And he is a civil engineer come researcher of environmental pollution and its mitigation strategies. Presently, he is carrying out his doctoral research on environmental air and noise pollution and its related health impact on human being in Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, with MHRD Research Fellowship. So Engineer Guha has completed his Master of Civil Engineering in Environmental Engineering specialization from Jadavpur University, and he graduated with Bachelor of Technology in Civil Engineering from West Bengal University of Technology, which is presently known as MAKE Makout. He has enriched with vast academic and industrial experience. He is also an associate member of the Institution of Engineers India. His professional skills includes different software handling, including Air Mode, SoundPlan, StatPro, AutoCAD, MATLAB, WRP, LOT, and organizing different professional development programs. He has presented research outcome in different national and international conferences also. So this particular webinar, which is being held in collaboration with the Association of Institution of Engineers, North Bengal Center. So we have Engineer Guha who would throw more light on this topic, and I'm sure that a number of us would be having a lot of takeaways from this webinar. Over to you, Engineer Arga Kamal Guha, for your presentation, and thank you for joining us. Over to you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. First of all, I'm wishing very good morning to everyone. And I want to express my sincere gratitude to the organizer for organizing such a wonderful webinar session, which can really bridge up some the gap between the academics and the industry. And so with this, I want to present my today's webinar, that is vehicle-induced air and noise pollution, related health impacts and its mitigation strategies. Before starting this session, I want to why in today's world we need to focus on environmental pollution, because due to the unprecedented growth of urbanization, it leads to the vehicular population. It needs to increase the vehicular population rapidly. So that's why when one vehicle moves with a particular road stretch, that time it originates air and simultaneously the noise pollution. And there are several urban receptors urban and rural roadway. So the different receptors are recepting this type of uh, air and noise pollution. Simultaneously, after receiving that sort of air and noise pollution simultaneously at certain times, it can hamper their health. So,
Sorry to interrupt. There is a small audio problem. If you can just come near the speaker and then speak, no? There is a
hello,
voice breaking. Yeah, now it's okay.
am I audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yes, because earlier there was a voice breaking actually. Now it's okay.
Okay, okay. Thanks. So today's webinar is entitled Vehicle-Induced Air and Noise Pollution, Related Health Impacts and its Mitigation Strategies. Basically, why we need to focus on this issue in today's modern world due to the unprecedented growth of urbanization. It leads to vehicular population increase in certain range over the period of time. If we focus on any particular urban or rural roadway, the vehicular population is increasing day by day. So that is why when one receptor is standing or working near the roadway, then that particular person is to that particular person usually receives that air and noise simultaneously. So after receiving that air and noise, that is polluted air and the simultaneously the noise, that person suffers with various health ailments. So from now, if we will not focus on this issue, then it will be a curse of our society with due time. So we need to focus on this issue from very beginning. So with this, I'm about
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Those buttons at the top are actually causing obstructions. Can you click on that, please? The one on the top. The series of buttons. No, not that one, sir. That also you need to move towards the right, please. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, now it's gone. Okay, on the series of buttons on the top, it's not moving up actually. Ideally, it should go up. Can you move the cursor away from that, please? No, the video. Okay, now it's gone, sir. The video. Okay, now it's gone. The video you need to close and move to the right. The video which you are viewing currently. Yeah.
okay, this
Yes, 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 yes. You can minimize and move it to the right, please. You can minimize and move it. Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you can move the cursor away from it. Thank you. Please proceed, sir.
fine. It's fine. Hello. Yes. So first of all, we need to know what is the air pollution. Air pollution is nothing but the presence of harmful constituents in a such quantity and of such duration which can interfere with the human health and welfare and produce different health and harmful environmental effects on environmental receptors. That is called air pollution. That is a very basic definition of the air pollution. So why? So first of all, so why we need to worry? Yes. So why we need to worry with this air pollution? Because in the different parts of our globe, there's a different types of research going on to find out the status and the related health impacts of the air pollution. And according to different regulatory bodies, have found out their information and they have set up some sort of rules and regulations to fix this problem. So As per World Health Organization, in 2018, they found the 7 million deaths every year related to the environmental air pollution. And in UNEP 2019, it finds that 51% of the pollution is caused by the industrial activities, 27% by the vehicular activities, and 17% by the crop burning, and 5% by the Diwali fireworks. In our country also, winter season, most of the air pollution from the biomass burning. That is the World Health Organization also, they have observed that 9 out of 10 people breathe harmful or the polluted air. That is very alarming situation. So 97% of the cities in different income groups, low and middle income groups of the different countries, they do not even meet the World Health Organization air quality guidelines for the different pollutants. So the situation is very, very alarming. So which types of pollutants presently in the air? If we broadly classify the air pollutants, there is 2 types of pollutants. Number 1 is gaseous, and number 2 is solid pollutants. Solid pollutants, you can say there is a particulate matter. And particulate matter also again categorized in coarser and the finer fraction. Finer fraction or the ultrafine fraction of the particulate matter tends to penetrate the human respiratory system, and it can several health ailments. So fine and ultrafine particulate matters are generally more dangerous in this perspective. So if exposed to different outdoor and indoor air pollutants, which can lead to a wide range of adverse health outcomes in both children and adults in different forms. Number 1 is respiratory problems. Number 2 is eye irritation. Number 3, cardiovascular issues and other fatal diseases in due course of exposure period. So the European Environmental Agency estimates that traffic contributes 70% for nitrogen dioxide and 30% of the particulate matter. Very alarming. Unprecedented growth of traffic activity, it contributes the cost of burden of the environmental pollutants. So we need to issue in the perspective that we will discuss later. So 7% of the European Union urban population is exposed to the nitrogen dioxide level above the World Health Organization limit, and here the particulate matter PM2.5. PM2.5 means the particulate matter with the aerodynamic diameter is less than equal to the 2.5 micron. That is very dangerous and exceeded the World Health Organization guidelines. The global burden of disease study of 2017 analyzed a report by Lancet that indicated that the 76.8% of the Indians are exposed to a higher particulate matter over 40 microgram per meter cube, which is significantly above the national limit recommended by the national guidelines on ambient air quality study by Central Pollution Control Board. So, if you find the statistics in India, from 1990 to 2010 and by 2030 is expected to the 4 to 5 times increase of the vehicular population. Basically, the older vehicles contribute 30 to 50% of the total emission from transport sector. Different studies from the Vivekananda and Mohan 2014 they observed in Indian cities. In Asian countries, in Asian cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Dhaka, Jakarta, and Manila in East Asia, the pollution levels is much greater than the World Health Organization standard by 2 times for pollutants. So, what are the health impacts which I already briefly discussed? If you see different human exposure of the gaseous and the particulate matter, we can broadly categorize this into respiratory problem, cardiovascular problem, and cerebrovascular disease. Basically, when a person exposed near roadside for 8 hours or more than 8 hours or for a certain period of time, they may suffer for short-term or long-term exposure-related health illness. The short-term exposure-related health illness including the eye irritation and some sort of shortness in breath. In the due course of time, the periodically this person will get to suffer, get to spend their daily time for the day, for working, residing, or for other different activities, maybe commuting with a particular polluted road space. Then, after a certain period of time, a person may suffer the cardiovascular and cerebrovascular disease and some fatal disease also. And some recent study also says that some of the annoyance or human response also found out with this air pollution. So basically, if you found if you categorize the vehicle, you found that two-wheeler, bus, two-wheeler, truck, and bike contribute the most fine particulate matter, that is PM10, PM5, PM2.5. Several studies considered this fine. And the exposure level of a person, which totally depends on the number of spores, that is the vehicle, or some other things like some natural activities also, like forest fire. But basically, the anthropogenic religions focus like vehicular activities, some industrial sources. But nowadays, vehicle is most prominent. So vehicular activities, then meteorological condition, and the age of the commuter and their health status. All these are the important factors of the exposure level of a particular person. Like if a person is the old person, or maybe for the children or in pregnant women, they are already in the sensitive receptor. So for them, the air pollution creates the severe impact. So, with all these issues keeping in the mind, regulatory bodies come up with some sort of act, and they formulated some sort of guidelines. These guidelines will implement with all the guidelines already developed in due course of time. I think in our recent past, some coming years, we can implement in sidelines or real field, then obviously it may cause a problem. But the thinking to fix this issue started from 1948, but the Factory Act and Amendment in 1987 also are first to express the concern for the working environment of the workers. And in 1955, the Air Pollution Control Act, in 1955 Air Pollution Control Act was the first Clean Air Act that the United States to address the national environmental problem of air pollution. And in 1981, you see the Air Prevention and the Control of Pollution Act provides for the control and the abatement of air pollution. It entrusts the power of enforcing this act to the Central Pollution Control Board. Now the 1982. Now in the 1982, the Air Prevention and Control Pollution Rules defines the procedures of the meetings of the boards and powers entrusted to them. In 1982 and 1987, also, they formulated some sort of Prevention and Control Measure Act. Then, after that, the 1988, the Motor Vehicle Act also states that all hazardous waste is to be properly packaged and labeled and transported. And in 2019, the National Clean Air Program, the NCAP, also formulated. The Ministry of Economic Forest. Then how to control this air pollution? Basically, as per their guidelines, as per the guidelines of the different regulatory bodies and the observations from different researchers, if we can classify the different control measures to fix this issue, then we can classify this like this. That is a control at source activity. Number one, there is the anthropogenic activity. Then proper traffic planning, that is also related to the source activity. The reduction of the incineration activity, that is also related to the source activity. Then tree plantation. Tree plantation is related to the source, and between the source and receptor, on kind of medium, if we can set up, that is the tree plantation, then that if we plant tree near roadway, the particular gap or types of density, if we keep then if we provide different types of tree density or density of the different types of tree, that can also minimize the on-street pollution level. Because if one vehicle is to the particular road space, and if you can assume that on the particular, if you can assume that near the particular road space, there is some sort of different environmental urban receptor, like different types of building for residential purposes and for commercial purposes, commercial and residential buildings, or some sort of street vendors are working near the road. If we can plant the tree with a particular density near roadside, then when some sort of puff of pollutant or some sort of pollutant was released from the vehicular activity, that it creates some sort of street vortex. That pollutant limited on the street. It is not able to disperse, beyond the street side, or it is not able to disperse into the window. So this is also the way. There is also another way to minimize the pollutant level in immediate vicinity of the street side. Maybe the on-street pollution level may be increased, but the street side pollution level, that is the immediate to the immediate vicinity, it will decrease. Then wearing mask or take other preventive measures also control or exposure level. If a human being can wear the mask or other protective measures to protect them, then also they may perceive some less contamination. Now, I'm moving ahead to the noise pollution. What is noise pollution? Basically, noise is a term which comes from the term unwanted or disturbing sound. Noise is a sound which can create some sort of unwanted or disturbing feeling in our mind. So, basically, how the noise is generated. When if we discuss this, how the noise is generated, basically, we will discuss how the sound is generated. Sound is generated due to the taking of any mechanical or any kind of object. So basically, when the vehicular activity or some other types of activities are going on in our environment or our nearby environment, so with that activity will create sort of sound. That sound, when it reaches a particular level, that sound creates some sort of problem to the receptor. That problem may be disturbing, annoying, or unwanted. So then only we can term that sound is noise. So how the noise is propagating from the source to the receptor. Propagation through the contraction and expansion of the media. If we see the vehicle, if we assume vehicle before and one person standing nearby the road is the receptor, then from the vehicle to that receptor, that person, the noise will propagate to the ambient atmosphere, the elastic atmosphere, if we can assume, then it will create some contraction and expansion of the media. So for a point source, the noise level decreased by 6 decibel for doubling of the distance from the source. The point source that we assume the point in any stationary source, like for a fan or for a mic, you can say, or in loudspeaker, also the points. And for a line source means there is a vehicular activity or the train activity. You can treat them as a line source. So for the line source, the noise level is also decreased by the 3 decibel per doubling of the distance from the source. In different countries as well as our India, the many researchers have studied or continuously studying the environmental noise level in different periods of time. So, and if they and some studies also apportion the source, or some studies also observe the source contribution for this environmental noise. So vehicular population contributes to 55% of the total noise on the traffic way. Is an Agarwal 2013 observed. So the prolonged exposure of the traffic noise, if we classify the exposure, then we need to classify this. One is physiological and number two is psychological. So psychological effects include the annoyance, sleep disturbance, stress reactions, and physiological effect includes the hypertension and cardiovascular activities and diabetes and several health ailments. Different researchers also concluded this. That. So we keep in mind with growing mental noise pollution level, our Central Pollution Control Board set up some sort of noise level for daytime and the night time for different type areas. 2000 Central Pollution Control Board noise pollution regulation and the control rules established. That time they formulated that the daytime and the night time for the industrial area, the noise level, permissible noise level should be 75 decibel and night time 70 decibel. For commercial 60, night time 55 decibel, residential 55 decibel, and daytime and the night time that is 45 decibel, and the silence zone that is 50 decibel and the 40 decibel. Now, under the silence zone, that is any educational and any judiciary places, all other under the hospitals, all other under the silence zone. And the daytime they have the Central Pollution Control Board assume daytime from 6 a.m. morning to 10 p.m. night is totally assumed as daytime. So, and from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. they treat it as the night time. So, within that period, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., the daytime noise limits are treated with noise descriptor L equivalent. What is L equivalent? L equivalent is one noise descriptor that is equivalent noise level. Equivalent noise level is the noise level monitored or observed for a specified period of time. That is the average weighted average weighted logarithm average noise level over a specified period of time. You can keep them as equivalent noise. So in our country, they formulated their in equivalent as the indicator for permissible noise limit, and some other countries also treated some other descriptors like Lmax and the maximum average, the maximum average noise limit, that is the average of the noise level, and some other countries also they treated it as the peak noise limit for a particular instant of time. And some statistical noise descriptors also there. That is when one person stands or the perceives the noise level the certain duration of time. So the 10% or the 50% and the 90% of the duration of the exposure they have treated as L10, L50, and L90. So L10 treated as the peak noise level, and L50 is the median noise, and L90 is the background noise. And with these, some researchers also formulated some sort of other guidelines which I have not presented there, but I am that discussed, that is traffic noise index and the noise climate. Noise climate is the fluctuation from the ambient noise level to a peak noise. That is, so that means if one continuous high level of noise originating for a particular period of time, then there is some sort of increase in the average ambient noise. That increase is counted as the noise line. And the traffic noise index, which is devised in UK motor vehicle authority, they have devised that traffic noise. That traffic noise is accounted that noise climate and also related to the annoyance of the human being. That is 74 decibel of traffic noise is treated as the threshold of total criterion. That means beyond the 74 decibel traffic noise level, human beings generally express their annoyance. Some studies they have found. So how to mitigate that environmental noise pollution? Basically, before discussing this slide, I need to say the thing. Basically, some researchers already considered that in most of our urban cities already violated the noise level prescribed our regulatory bodies, Central Pollution Board, that is India, and in overseas of their different regulatory bodies. They have violated their guidelines. So the environmental noise exceeding the prescribed limits. So World Health Organization they prescribe the 24-hour noise dose to 70 decibel. So above 70 decibel of 24-hour noise dose, that means when a person exposure time is 24 hours, that the 24-hour exposure exceeding the 70 decibel, person suffers that type of illness. So different regulatory bodies come up with some sort of solution after getting the research improved from different types of researchers and from their own research. They have come up with some sort of solution. That solution includes the land use study, proper land use study, then alternative alignment, the screening by noise tolerant building, then building disposition, then noise barrier and the enclosure. If we install the noise barrier with different types of barrier materials on and different types of acoustic insulating materials, then some sort of noise level you can design. I have found in some studies that the plantation of the tree, that is the bamboo tree, and other types of bamboo type trees, it can be 4 to 10 decibel of the on-street noise propagation. Then architectural and architectural features and the balcony, then building orientation and innovative layout also needs to be adopted. Then acoustic insulation of receivers because if for a building, if we use some of the acoustic cluster, insulating cluster, and it all may be some sort of vertical that of the doors and the windows. These we also can minimize the indoor noise level from the outdoor noise propagation to the indoor. So if we can adopt all these in our real field scenario, proper planning, then obviously we can achieve our goal to reduce environmental noise pollution and basically nowadays it is very alarming situation developing that environmental air and noise pollution is increasing. Environmental air and noise pollution day by day, and so to implement all the prescribed bodies. So if we can mitigate that environmental space and air and noise, then you can survive. With this, I want to conclude my session. Thanks to all of you for your patience, for hearing me, and to healthy survival, standing situation, stay safe and healthy. Thanks a lot to organizers for inviting me. Thanks a lot, Mr. Saroj, and
Thank you so much, Engineer Guha, for that presentation. In fact, what do you think, like say, for example, you have also outlined many... No?
It's audible. It's audible. It's the system at Goa Sir's place.
Oh, now it's okay?
yes.
Suraj, you're able to hear me now?
Yeah, we are able to hear you loud and clear. Both of you.
Now you are able to hear Engineer Guha?
Yes.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is that you have outlined a lot of mitigation measures, on how to avoid it or prevent it. What do you feel like in our country? What is the present status now? Vis-a-vis the mitigation as well as far as noise pollution as well as air pollution is concerned, because we have read so many newspaper reports also from Delhi and all that areas. So where do we stand exactly?
Yes. So actually, lots of preventive measures already, some sort of regulatory bodies and some sort of stakeholders and some sort of policymakers have adopted. And basically, the main problem is to implement in our real field. That is the main problem. If that if we because the correction is needed, we are just blaming to our government. It will not solve the issue, sir. The main thing is that we need to correct ourselves. If we are using our own car or the vehicle to move a short distance, it means, sir. So that is the main problem actually. And in the different cities in urban and the rural areas in our country, our Central Pollution Control Board and World Health Organization, they have formulated or they have already prescribed different mitigation strategies. If we can implement that strategy with proper planning, then obviously we can achieve our goal. But the thing is that implementation is real thing. That is the challenge. That is a big challenge.
Any success stories that you can think about, where they have successfully implemented this Any success story?
Success story means, see, sir, actually NCAP already has launched NCAP, the National Clean Air Program, in collaboration the Ministry of Environmental MOEF and the IIT Kanpur. They have already NCAP has launched, but they have tried to, the organization and the authorities have tried to fixing that issue. That nowadays still that some sort of building or some sort of like one building near Gurgaon that I have seen in some sort of newspaper. They have totally created that building naturally ventilated. That is, they have planted the indoor plants and outdoor vertical gardens and the outdoor plants and the rooftop gardens. By they have reduced the indoor temperature 20 to 30% lesser than the ambient temperature and the pollutant level also.
Okay.
Yes. So,
During the last 4 months also, because of the pandemic also, I think there has been a reduction in air pollution, is it not?
yes, sir, there has been a reduction of the vehicular activity. With that, there is a reduction in the air pollution and similarly the climate. Actually, you can see it is totally related to our climate change. It's totally related to the climate change. Our climate also changed a lot with this pandemic. In Delhi, some days before, we found some sort of rainfall.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
very alarming, sir. The situation is very alarming. We are not focusing on this issue
correct.
very carefully. It means that we need to fix this issue as early as possible, sir.
Are civil engineers paying attention? Have you come across civil engineers who are paying attention to such aspects or projects, those who are paying attention? Because there are a number of projects also which is going on in the eastern part of the country, no? For northeastern part of the country. Is there any preventive measures they are undertaking? Any projects undertaking any preventive measures at their project site? Anything, any innovative methods they are following?
Sir, actually, in North India and the Northeast, now there are some sort of engineering organization. They are trying to implement their green building technology, and with that residential and the commercial buildings, they are creating some sort of rooftop gardens and the vertical gardens. And basically, this is the receptive, this is a measure to the receptors level. But I am trying to say measures should be taken place in the source, in the medium, and the receptor also. So, in all three parts, then we can achieve the goal. We need to reduce the source, we need to proper plan the source, and we need to take measure in the source release point, that is the industrial emission, and as well as the vehicular emission, that is the vehicular exhaust tailpipe. In Sri Lanka and in some other countries, I have seen but one startup come up with one solution. They have created ink from the vehicular exhaust.
I think technology also plays a vital role. Technology is a big role, no? Because without technology, we cannot.
Yes, sir. Also needed to solve this issue. Already, our government is also trying to fix this issue, but my concern is to the people. We need to concern from our mind first, then only something can be done.
I think there is a little technical issue at Anil Pillai Search Place. You should be back any minute now. Anil sir, are you able to hear us?
No. Yeah. Thank you so much, Engineer Guha, for having joined us. And we wish you all the best. And yeah, thank you so much for. And I'm sure that many of us would be sensitive towards such issues, and we need to take more measures in mitigating this. So thank you so much for your presentation, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Safe and healthy.